All right, everyone. Hello. Well, hello, hello. Welcome to the BCV podcast. I am your host, Pastor SaikoWoods, and I know some of y'all are surprised to see me at the beginning of the week. Like, what is he doing here? Well, I'm off today. Had to take care of some business, but here I am bringing to you a special broadcast. I'm excited to have my guest. Some of you all know her, Dr. Christina Parks. She is in the green room and will be coming on momentarily. Just want to make sure that everyone is able to see me and hear me in the chat, Facebook family, YouTube family. Make sure that you can see me, hear me well. If you can, put up a one. Chelsea, what's going on? What's up? What's up? Let's get it. All right. All right. Vigilant, hello, sister. Roland, hello. Erica, good to see you. So everybody can hear me great. All right. Good, good, good. Making sure the Facebook family comes on in here. Nathan, what's up, my brother? Good to see you, my man. All right, tag a friend, tag a friend, tag a friend, tag a friend. Even tag an enemy. Yeah, I got a lot of those too, but it's all good. All right, don't have a lot of time to waste. Don't want to take too much time out of anybody else's schedule, but please like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell at the bottom of this video. That way, whenever I go live, post any content or information, you'll be one of the first also to view it. Please. I would definitely appreciate that. Also, if you'd like to support the ministry financially, you can do that as well through the donation information located below at the bottom of the video, BCV information as well. Hopefully, we'll be getting another website, excuse me, another site before we can have the rest of our BCV gear. The hats have been stalemated as being populated on the Teespring account. So be praying for us that we will be able to get those things transferred over to another site. All right. But let me go ahead and get this thing started because my guest, she's pressed for time and I don't want to take too much time away from her because she has other commitments as well. But I am definitely delighted to have her here. But let me just give you a little bit of her bio. Some of you may not know her, but after this live, you will know her and her work. Dr. Christina Parks received her PhD in cellular and molecular biology from the University of Michigan in 1999. She did her graduate research in the field of cytokine signaling. Hoping I'm saying that right, Doc. Cytokines are the chemicals that the immune system uses to communicate. Thus, Dr. Parks brings a wealth of knowledge about how both COVID and the COVID, you know what, the V, may affect the immune system. She has garnered significant attention for her testimony on the Michigan House Bill 4471, which seeks to ban discrimination based on the V status. So, ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, I bring to you the one, the only, Dr. Christina Parks. Dr. Parks, thank you so much for joining. Welcome to the podcast, ma'am.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right.
Can you hear that?
That's for you. That's for you.
Oh, wow. Can you hear the thunderstorm brewing here? We've got a thunderstorm. Hopefully it's going the other way. I don't know.
Okay. Well, hopefully you'll be able to duck it. So listen, I'm glad to have you here. You and I, we had another live that we did about, I think maybe a year ago, less than a year, give or take. Reached out to you because of your viral video that we had mentioned just a minute ago at the introduction with the Michigan House. And you have been very sought after individual, to say the least. And so how things have been going with you so far? How things been treating you? Life been treating you?
Good. Just super busy and just wondering how to, good grief, the thunder's loud, how to do it all. But, it's all good. And I just figure if I keep moving forward, eventually, I'll get all the parts and pieces lined up, going all the same direction. So
good. Well, Dr. Parks, again, I'm glad to have you here. You're getting a lot of love in the chat room. Christina Lewis says hello. Send Dr. Parks some love, y'all. She's in the building. She's in his house, and she's from Michigan. Of course, you know how we do it in Michigan. So hey, so listen, okay. Where do we start? You want to just go ahead and just address the elephant in the room on what brings you here around these parts, Dr. Parks. You had saw the video my wife and I did. I think was it 2 weeks ago on the 7th. I think the 4th. Excuse me, the 4th. The 4th. I titled it my wife, or I think what did I title that thing? It was called My Wife Is Extremely Overweight. What should I do? and you watched a majority of it, and you reached out to me and said you would like to share your thoughts about it. So, and this is all unscripted, ladies and gentlemen. I do not know what Dr. Parks is going to say. She may not agree with me, but hey, she's the doctor. I am not. I will humbly submit myself to her expertise and know all. So, but I'm delighted to hear her thoughts about it. So tell me, what did you hear? What did you think about the podcast?
Well, as a scientist, and I think this is what makes me a scientist, not the other way around, I really, really look for root causes, right?
Okay.
Like, what is the root cause of whatever dysfunction it is, whether that's a biochemical or a psychological or a spiritual dysfunction. And so that goes across all different things. And so when you're having this conversation, I'm really here. I mean, I definitely think about things as a scientist, and I have a lot to say about obesity as a scientist. But I also have a lot to say about it as a woman who is 52 years old in a week or two, and and has seen this in friends and family, and struggled with maintaining fit and not getting overweight myself. And so I'm really aware of those challenges, and I had to ask myself, like, what is preventing you from losing the weight? What is your goal right now? And especially as a busy homeschooling mom for like 13 years, last year, a couple months back, I weighed 190 pounds. I've lost 30 pounds, fortunately, without even trying. And we'll talk about that.
Okay, good. Wow.
Like,
yeah.
For a woman to lose 30 pounds without trying is like, the clouds part and the second.
Now, Dr. Parks, can I ask you how tall are you? Because is that a factor as well? If you lost 30 pounds and you were 190?
I'm 5'4".
Okay.
So I'm not, for me to weigh 190 pounds was not comfortable for me, not comfortable. And so as I was, but as women, a lot of times we're not a priority, right? Our children are a priority, our husbands are a priority. And so you always have to ask yourself, what's a priority? And then why, if I'm exercising, I have lots of relatives and friends, that, they're exercising, they're not losing weight. Is this hormonal? Is my cortisol out of balance? And so I really that particular issue was very sort of extreme or cut and dried, right? Okay. Most of the women I know are pretty active, are active and working toward being healthier.
I heard that too. Yeah, I heard it.
I'm not going to be smoked by God if I say the right
like speak,
thing,
Lord.
Right? Like, no, that one's wrong.
Yeah.
But I liked that example of the woman who was grossly overweight, because really what it does, I think, is it highlights an issue, a core cause that I think that, that may be more not quite as identifiable in your sort of average relationship, where most of us are not that overweight and we're still active and we're still trying. And when you get to that active and still trying but not quite meeting your goals, I think that's where a lot of the biochemistry that I have to give. You're already moving in the right direction. You're just not getting where you want to go. And what are the factors in your body that are preventing it? But right now, I want to talk about the root psychological and spiritual causes, because I think that those are the first things for everyone to address. And the other things are downstream and are actually much easier. And that is, have you ever known anyone to be able to maintain discipline without inspiration?
No.
And you just can't do it. So in your thing, the wife had, gotten a bike and had done it for 3 weeks and stopped. Why? She wasn't inspired. So what that tells you, you can really look at it as a positive thing. She actually wants this. She doesn't know how to do it either. And the husband's lost. So we can focus on the problem, which then just causes them to fight whose fault is it anyway, or we can focus on the solution. And I think the solution in the context of a relationship is get back to inspiration. So what was it that you saw in this person in the first place? Because there was something somebody posted on Facebook that in a particular culture, instead of punishing a child when they did something wrong, they sort of brought him back to a space to help him remember who he was. And so I think in that case specifically, I would say that would be the job of the husband, to help remind his wife who she is. Why did he marry her? So It doesn't even have to be active because, right, if your goal is secretly to get her fit, like you're going to meet some resistance, not because she doesn't want to be fit, but
Right.
because it just brings up the whole problem again, right? But let's find the solution. So I really would like to be more fit than I am right now. And I'll go walking, and I love to walk, and I've been walking quite a bit. I haven't lost any weight because I've been walking 2 miles a day or anything. But I'm like meandering around, like, watching the birds fly, saying hi to the deer. And then there's these people like seriously power walking
Right.
because I'm like not really motivated to get like ripped or toned. And then something changed. I started skydiving again. So as I
Wait,
started
hold on, Doc. Hold on. Wait a minute. You started doing what?
skydiving again.
As in jumping out of a plane?
Right.
You
Yeah.
see, okay. All right. Go ahead.
Yeah, you saw me doing this earlier.
Yeah.
Old skydiving injury,
I
actually,
think
that
I
I
saw
need to
you.
get.
Yeah, I think I saw the
Yeah.
video. Like, was that you for real?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Continue, ma'am. I'm sorry. That was wow.
So, I have always liked to be fit and active, but I was in the plane the other day. I'm trying to help the guy get the door open to the King Air so we can jump out. And I don't have enough upper body strength to open it. And then the other day, another guy said, "Hey, are you going to get the door? Well, should I?" Well, when you open the door, like as soon as you open the door, there's the outside. You're outside the plane at 14,000 feet. So you really have to have not just the upper body strength, but the core strength so you don't fall out of the plane or whatever as you're opening the door. You maintain your stability. And so I thought, okay, now that was my motivation. I've got to increase my upper body strength, my core strength, or whatever. I can't be a wuss. I can't be
Yeah.
jumping out of planes and not be
Yeah.
able to handle whatever is expected of me. So that's my example of inspiration. That's like now I'm going to be a lot more serious because I need to feel strong when I'm doing that. God, he did. He made got
Yeah, he did.
gravity for a reason so that you could skydive. I know, and that is like it was like foreshadowing. He knew we would eventually want to do this, so he
Yeah.
made sure to make gravity. So yeah, great purpose for gravity. But anyway, getting back to this example, we each need to be reminded who we are. And when someone gains that much weight, there's a suggestion that perhaps there's depression going on, that there's many other things. Now, those can be biochemical, there can be many root causes. I can't address all of them. But at its core, all of us respond positively to inspiration, to remembering who we are. So,
Yes.
what is it that inspires this person? It's the job of the husband to remember. Does that person like to go to, national parks? Do they like art? It doesn't really matter what it is because even if it's not directly related to working out, remembering who you are makes you feel better about yourself, makes you start to have goals, makes you start to have, even if they're walking around an art museum, they're walking around, right?
Yeah, that's good. That's
And
right.
if you wanted to visit national parks, well, that's a motivation to get in shape. Hey, so like let's just use an example. Maybe this person really does love nature and national parks or hiking or whatever it is. And that's what they did maybe when they were dating, but now with kids, well, you don't even have to say, hey, you need to get in shape so we can go to the national parks. You could just start posting pictures of national parks or say, hey, I remember this. Engage the person at the level that reminds them who they are, that you loved about them. That's going to turn them on. That's going to turn on their ability to see their own self-worth, to have dreams and goals or whatever. And once they start to have those, then that's where it's like, hey, I want to start walking so that we can go do this. Maybe it's a tour of homes, a tour, national parks, whatever it is. What is it that's going to motivate them to start taking better care of themselves? And at the root cause, loving yourself, like, being the person that God designed you to be, right? Because how many people are like, yeah, I think deep in my core I'm a fat, overweight person. And so then it goes to people. I know many people that are heavier, that are still active, that are still pursuing their goals and their dreams. And then the question is, why is my body not responding? Right? And so I had that. I'm on a particular supplement that reduces inflammation. Many people don't realize that your fat actually produces inflammation. And then the inflammation screws up your hormones, which makes you more likely to gain weight.
Wow.
And also that your fat holds toxins. So until if especially let's say you get in a negative depressive cycle where you're eating McDonald's or you're just busy with the kids and so you're not eating like what you should.
Mm-hmm.
Every time you're gaining weight, you're probably eating the wrong foods and you're gaining toxins.
Mm.
And your body will not like burn that fat until you remove the toxins because it doesn't want those toxins to go into circulation. It's actually sequestering them.
Wow.
So detoxing it once a lot of times like you're like, okay, I'm finally ready to change my life, or I have changed it. Why am I not losing this weight? One, because your fat is holding toxins, right? Two, because you got it from trans fats and your body doesn't know how to process that. So it's going to take a little bit more of an effort. Three, your
Wow.
mitochondria are dysfunctional. So in the African American community, among many Black people, we have metabolic disorder. I've had metabolic disorder my whole life, even though I mostly maintain a healthy weight. I've had prediabetes, hyperinsulinemia, hypoglycemia. Like things are not working right, and my body is not burning the food for calories like I need it to. I low energy, and then you're like, how can I have low energy and be overweight? Because your mitochondria aren't working. You fix that mitochondrial dysfunction. You teach the body how to process and burn what it's supposed to. And then once you get rid of that inflammation, your metabolic disorder, I really believe that's why I was able to lose 30 pounds without trying.
Dr. Parks, I wanted for those men I know, what is mitochondria? What is that? What does that mean?
So the mighty mitochondria, the powerhouse of the cell, it makes your energy. And so it's either going to burn carbohydrates or fat as energy. And the problem is if they're not working correctly, then they're not burning what you need. They're not burning the fat that you already have on your body, or they're not burning the carbohydrates. And so you chronically feel, if you chronically feel cravings, if you chronically feel hungry, because your body's trying to get energy, and the reason it doesn't have energy isn't because you're not eating enough. It's because it's not able to use what you have correctly because the system is out of balance. The mitochondria aren't working. So you correct your mitochondria, you reduce inflammation, you detox, and your body's going to be able to lose weight. Now, women also have some hormonal issues, so it's really, really complex. And so if your wife is trying, my advice to men would be to love her.
Okay.
It is not an easy journey,
Yeah.
right?
Patient.
And
Yeah.
and again, some of that attraction, when you're talking about, I don't find my wife attractive. Well, I mean, obviously at 400 or 500 pounds, there's very few of us who would find a person attractive physically, right? But you can generate emotional closeness, which also is going to be supportive of your wife. And if your wife is trying to focus not on the fact that she's not where she wants to be, because that just makes her feel more like a failure, right? But to focus on all of those beautiful parts of her that attracted you. And as you allow those to flourish, you're also going to reignite the connection that you have with one another, right?
Yeah,
because we're connected to who we are, not our bodies. And that's why people will say, well, if it's a physical issue, she's sick or something, then I get it, because what they're saying is, I see that her body is not a reflection of who she is.
Yes.
And then that would be my message to my wife. I love you, and I see that your body right now is not a reflection of who you are. How can I help? But I know who you are. You are this, you are this, you are this, you are this. Obviously all positive things. Right?
So basically what you're saying is words, no, we're not talking about creative power or anything, but words have the ability or the power to encourage. I put it this way. I'll speak for myself. I mean, I'm not a big dude, as you can see, right? But when my wife encourages me, it boosts my level of confidence. One of the reasons why I work the way that I do is because I have motivators in my home. I have my wife and I have my 4 girls. And so when I feel tired, or when I say tired, like I said, man, I just don't feel like going into there or whatever the case might be. I look at my wife and I look at my girls, and that's my drive. But especially when my wife speaks words of encouragement, things of that nature. I mean, what she may see, I don't see, but because she sees it, it helps me to see it better. I think that'll be another helpful way
and I think that's important too. So I've been speaking sort of how the man can support and inspire his wife, but I think that in building that connection again, regardless of where you're at, and then I think that connection is so important because that's what motivates us you know what I'm saying? When
Yeah.
things sort of die and fall apart, we get depressed. And
Right.
so on both levels, the woman, regardless of her weight, a man wants to be respected. A man
Mm.
wants to, be encouraged. He wants to be the hero. And so a lot of times women are trying to solve problems, and I'm as guilty as the next woman. And so we can nag, we can, do these sort of negative behaviors, trying to control our home and our kids and, all of these things because we want everything to go right. Um, but, being an encourager of your husband and,
Yeah.
and having that respect and all of those things, again, anything that builds that relationship closer and everything that builds is going to encourage. And it may not be like 2 months later, she's at her ideal weight.
Right.
Good gravy.
Look, come on, hurry up. Come on.
I know I might lose my internet connection.
Man.
But in generally, anything that builds that connection and
Yeah.
supports each other is going to bring you closer. And once you feel better about yourselves and better about your relationship, all the other things fall into place. And of course, there are seasons like when you're homeschooling for kids or something, you might be doing your best. But I know like there's times when my husband's like, I'm going on this low carb diet or something, and I was like, I don't have time for that. Don't you understand? I'm trying to homeschool 4 kids and do this and that. That's what I'm thinking internally. But
Yeah.
when he starts doing it, I might like for a couple of
Mm.
days because I know I should be doing it, but I don't want to take that discipline to just do
Wow.
it. But once they're doing it, it really does make it easier for you,
Yeah.
right? It
Right.
does.
I'm seeing this. I'm seeing this. Lord. Lord, y'all look, y'all pray for Dr. Parks because she's going through a storm, literally. She's in a storm, y'all. She's in a storm, literally.
So hopefully it doesn't hit my house, but or hit the antenna that has the Wi-Fi on it. But so I mean, I think that at its core, we need to remind each other of who we are, support and encourage each other, and from there comes that spark. And then to realize, like, it was a couple of years ago, I knew I wanted to lose weight, but some people were doing weight loss challenges, and I really wasn't up for that because what I really wanted was to be healthy, just to be healthy. And as a like, I've had to be extremely disciplined throughout my whole life, and there are just times when you're like, I
Right.
am done. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
like I'm
Yeah.
done waking up at 5 a.m. I'm done. Like,
Right.
and so, but unless you have something that's really motivating, whether it's, I'm getting back into skydiving and I want to have core strength to do that or whatever. So unless you have significant inspiration, it's hard to be super disciplined year after year after year because you're disciplined with your spiritual habits, with your children, with your, there's so many areas and we just get tired,
Right.
right?
Yes.
So, and it helps when others go with you. So, yeah, if you have something where you're walking with a friend and you get to chat, or whatever it is, or it's something you love to do, you're kayaking and it's not just feeding your body, it's feeding your soul, or whatever it is. So, I mean, that would be my thing. And then find ways to make you healthy. If you detox, that's going to help. If you are able to improve your overall health, anything that increases your inflammation is going to make it harder for you to lose weight. Anything that increases your cortisol, you're like, okay, I have to get rid of my kids.
Okay.
Gain weight.
Yeah. So how so we're dealing with the spiritual and psychological, right? That those two elements. So let's talk about the physical and some practical ways of doing it. So we all know we can't live without food. So, but it's the kind of foods that we eat. I would say, right? What are some things that we could do, to help change our eating habits and lifestyle choices?
Right. So, I mean, it's pretty complicated. But I mean, there, in the sense that it's, um, when you have metabolic disorder, it can be difficult for you to balance things, right? It can be even difficult to fast. So I would say, I do think that a lower carb diet, I think that the whole low fat movement was like the death of everybody. Fat is not bad. And if you're eating healthy fats, but like, vegetable oils are not good. Those increase inflammation. Butter's been demonized because it, they wanted to sell margarine to make a profit or whatever. But, things like butter aren't bad for you. avocados aren't bad for you. And so one, we eat too much, too much, too many times a day. I mean, you don't really need to eat. So intermittent fasting a couple days a week where like maybe you eat dinner and then you don't eat until dinner again the next day, right? Or just starting out by skipping one meal a day. And just, my thing is don't be perfect, just make a better choice.
Right.
Make one better choice. And in your meal planning, start with, one meal, add one meal every week or every month that is healthier. So I know when I actually started a garden, I hated eggplant. Like, why would anybody eat eggplant? But I grew them because they were a pretty purple color.
That was your reason why?
They're so pretty. It's like, I don't know, it looks so pretty. And then I'm like, well, I am not throwing away these eggplant. We are going to eat them. And I'm going to find a way that I like eggplant. Wow. And so actually, when you make like ratatouille from everything in your garden, it's absolutely delicious. And so when I grew things, I started eating healthier because I was like, I'm not throwing away these vegetables, right? I'm not going to let them sit in the drawer like I do the ones from the store and go bad.
Wow.
And so I found out how to make baba ganoush, which is kind of like hummus, but for eggplant. I actually made my husband an eggplant cake for his birthday. His birthday's in September one year. So I think that, find a way, find what you love. I do make a lot of bone broth. I make pho, which is a Vietnamese bone broth that's amazing. And that's comfort food. So for me to have this bone broth with a little bit of, organic ramen noodles or organic rice noodles or whatever it is, and a few vegetables, to me, that's comfort. And so one step at a time, find something that's healthier that still meets your need, because this idea that you're going to discipline yourself for the rest of your life to not eat what you want is like hideous. Wow. Nobody wants to live like that.
Right. Yeah. What do you say? Okay, so let's tackle. Well, I mean, first, before I tackle any objections, anything else you would like to bring and share with the audience? Anything that you may have in your notes? Because I want to make sure you get all this out, because I know there goes some objections in the comments. That's gonna maybe like, well, Doc, what about this? What about if the woman don't want to do this? What about the woman don't want to do that? What are you supposed to do? That kind of thing.
No, let's just bring on the comments. I mean, I pretty much said what I have to say, and
Okay. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the time for you to post your comments in the chat. So I'm gonna scroll up here. If you have a comment or question for Dr. Christina Parks, you can post it, and I'll try to populate it on the screen. Let me go back up a little bit. Vina says, I learned that the hard way. I couldn't continue to just eat junk and expect to lose weight. I cut out processed and dry and fried foods. So how hard, let me ask you this, isn't it hard to do this, like just starting out? What would you recommend for people, like Lavina, she says, she had to start doing this because she came to realization, but also know her and her husband, so they do things together. But how do you what would be some, I guess, gradual steps or practical ways to do what Vina just mentioned about?
So again, the first is to replace your vegetable oils with real oil. So olive oil would be a vegetable oil you can use, but other than that, you want to use coconut oil. I would even use lard before I would use vegetable oils. And we actually use tallow if I needed to deep fry, which I don't really deep fry things. So I use a lot of coconut oil, olive oil, and I use a lot of butter, which is super great for you. So what people don't realize is those processed foods are highly, highly inflammatory. And if it's processed, who knows how many chemicals are in it. I'm not saying I don't eat processed foods.
No, I understand. Yeah,
I do. But to change the way that you would, and so I would replace I try not to even buy salad dressing because it's all soybean oil, right?
Wow.
It says vegetable oil, but if you turn it soybean oil, why are they even calling it vegetable oil? Why don't they just call it soybean oil? Because they know people don't want soybean oil. So all of those are very inflammatory for the body, and your body has to make all these cell membranes, and it actually makes membranes better out of animal fats and things like butter. So if you're a vegan, there are some healthy fats, coconut oil and avocados and things like that. but you want to have God-made fats, right?
Mm.
Things that your ancestors would have eaten, all right? And as much as possible. And that's going to reduce inflammation. Anything that you can do to reduce inflammation is going to help you on your goals, because it's going to help to reverse that metabolic disorder. It's going to help to get you where you want to be. This is like an onion process, though.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to learn to be really kind to yourself, and to realize that this is a step-by-step process, and it's a journey. And again, the idea isn't to discipline yourself into being perfect. It's to love yourself and find things that bring you joy, that are consistent with a healthier lifestyle. I don't eat things I don't like. I just, like, who
Yeah.
wants to do that?
Gotcha. Uh, Esteban said, and this is from the initial post that the man had mentioned about his wife. Said that the husband said that his wife was not a small woman when he first married her, and that he was okay with that. I'm not sure. I thought he would say he wasn't okay with that.
Well, I mean,
No, he
that's
said he was
fine.
okay with that. Yeah. I'm sorry. Go
But
ahead.
but I mean, I think the issue is, he was saying that he didn't like the fact that she wasn't able to be active,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
Mm-hmm.
so, yeah, at some point, it's way too overweight. And
Right.
so, what he's saying is he can find somebody attractive. They don't have to be a perfect Vogue weight, but what they do have to be is active and, relatively
Right.
attractive.
So what happens when a woman does what this man said, that his wife put on over 150 pounds in 5 years? So it didn't happen overnight. So this was a gradual, process of declination of one's, health. So I guess you're not a man, but what what are some factors you think uh, had happened? Because I'll say this from what I have been told. Most men, when they approach their wives regarding some of the things that they do, there's pushback, or there's this response where oh, so you don't love me, or are you trying to say I'm fat, or whatever the case might be. So it causes men now to sometimes just back off and then not say anything, but that doesn't help, because it just causes matters to become worse, and then you find a result of a woman being over 150 pounds plus.
Right. Well, I guess I would ask. I think that men, like, it's kind of like they've won their prize and now they're married, and so they can go back to work. So,
Hmm.
and so sometimes I think men can, I don't want to say ignore, but ignore their wives, right?
Yeah.
And in the sense that they think everything is okay and they're distracted. And so the question is, what were the warning signs that something was not right? Right?
Mm.
Why is she overeating? Why is she gaining weight? Is it that they're too busy? Is it that she's depressed? Is there some need that's not getting met? So, what is going on there is what I would ask. What causes someone to gain 150 pounds in 5 years? That's a significant amount of weight. And why was he completely, like, not seeing this happening? There's
Mhm.
something deeper going on here, is what I'm thinking.
Yeah. So then communication, what would you put communication in that relationship, or any relationship?
Right. I would say again that I think that men need to realize that they are the leaders in the relationship, and say, and just, I mean, you don't have to ask about the weight. You just see what's going on with you. Hey, I noticed you've been, you know, I mean, maybe you don't want to say eating a lot lately, but is there something going on? If you notice that they're, using food as a crutch, you
Mm.
know, why are they feeling insecure? Did they just change jobs, or they don't, their boss doesn't like them? What is it that is causing them not to flourish? Because I would say that if you're eating a lot and gaining all that weight, you are not flourishing. Why did this man not notice his wife is not flourishing? And I
Mm.
think men don't notice.
Mm. Loved by God says this. She says, "Mom of three, ages 5, 4, and 2. By God's grace, I exercise 5 times a day, 1 hour each day. I repented of my prior poor health choices. I was 194 pounds at 5'2" in 2018. Now I'm 157. Lowest was 136 in 2019. That is a significant change. Significant change. Wow. Um, I think someone else said, let's see. Yes. Here, where was it? I just saw it here. Yes. No. So, Loretta said menopause is of the devil. Here's some questions. Some people said the women. Here they go. What about menopausal women? What are your thoughts about that? What is
I'm menopausal and I still lost 30
okay?
pounds.
Okay.
So it's an imbalance. And so if you follow me on Telegram, I do actually post a lot of health information, and I do routinely give. I sell a supplement. I'm not going to go all into that here,
Yes.
but I talk about all of these things. This is really an issue. You know, balancing your hormones, making sure you get what you need. We are have a synthetic society, and
Mm,
our systems are way out of balance. God didn't design you to have to become fat when you went through menopause. So we have to get out of this mindset, and we also have to figure out again how to detox our bodies, how to bring that balance back. There was a point when I was going through menopause and I had these feelings of doom in the middle of the night. I was like, shoot me now. I was like, give me
mm,
morphine. I don't care
mm.
what illegal drug it is. I'll take it to feel better. Like, so
Yeah.
I went right to the doctor and said, give me bioidentical hormones. Well, they took my baseline and they said, you're right, your hormones are way out of whack. And my brother had just passed away. So that
Mm,
was a significant stress on my cortisol, on my whole system. And but I was so desperate, I went to the health food store and I got myself some progesterone cream and I got myself some natural supplements. And well, guess what? In the intervening time, the natural supplement worked. I didn't have to go on bioidentical hormones,
mm.
and I was able to balance my hormones. And it wasn't a perfect situation, but it got better and better and better and better.
Yes.
So I would say that, yeah, this is definitely a challenge. I think that there's a lot that's out of balance. I think that we're not giving our bodies we're giving them chemicals they don't need,
Right.
and we're not giving them the natural things that help to bring our bodies into balance. And so that's, I mean, that's what I do is talk about those kind of things in depth and share that kind of information. And so, it's maybe, in a week or so, I'll if your audience is interested, then go to my Telegram page, and I can give a link and give a talk on that again for anybody who's interested, that's going through many of the same things about how to balance your body. Many of us are magnesium deficient. We're vitamin D deficient.
Mm.
Those are two things, and vitamin K deficient. I have a cod liver oil supplement, a high vitamin butter, and and I also take magnesium. Those are absolutely critical. If your body isn't functioning right, if your metabolism isn't functioning right, you're not going to lose weight. You've got to get it in balance, and you've got to take care of your metabolic syndrome.
What about since we're dealing with cold and allergy season, with particularly allergy season? How is poor health or not taking care of our bodies contributing factors to us getting more sick? I mean,
So this goes, yeah, and this is I talk a lot about like leaky gut. So and I want to talk about this specifically because COVID, if you've had it or anything related to it, um, it will infect your intestinal system, and it will actually cause your gut to be leakier. There's many things that can cause leaky gut, but that's one of them. And whenever you have that, what happens is your cells are supposed to be really tight together like this. And when you have leaky gut, they open up, and molecules, bacteria, viruses, food gets from your intestines into your bloodstream.
mm,
When that happens, it provokes an immune response because your body's like, this isn't supposed to be here. It thinks it's a foreign invader. And
wow,
so it starts attacking it. And when that does, it's like you're always turning your immune system on, and you're always turning on that inflammation. So every time you eat, you're causing excess inflammation. Excess inflammation feeds metabolic disorder, it feeds cortisol, it feeds fat production. So it feeds this entire inflammatory process. When you are able to heal leaky gut, and bone broth is one great way to do that. So you can make soup, and it's soup, like real soup from real bones. Go get
hmm,
something organic for this, right? You don't
okay,
want whatever chemicals they put on the
yes,
meat, right?
yes,
If you're
yes,
gonna make real soup again, so healing for the gut.
yeah.
And when you close that leaky gut, you're actually you are helping to reduce the histamine that your body's making, and you're not going to have as many allergies. I also talk a lot about that, like different products that you can use to reduce the allergic response. Mhm.
We need to make sure. Yeah, we need to make sure your Telegram link is in the comments in the chat, so that way I can share it on the screen as well too. Someone said, Vigilant Service said, "What is your protocol to reduce inflammation?"
So one, do as I say and not as I do, and stop eating sugar.
That's a lesson for all of us. I'm pretty sure.
I do okay sometimes and not so much. Um, Again, I do sell a supplement that reduces inflammation, and it's all natural products. And again, like healing that leaky gut, because that is driving inflammation by using bone broth.
Hmm.
Carbohydrates and sugars tend to be really inflammatory.
Hmm.
So, exercise can both reduce and cause inflammation if your body, some people take vitamin C that can help reduce inflammation. But again, vitamin D, magnesium, critical for shutting down the immune response, for shutting down inflammation. Your body cannot shut down inflammation without vitamin D. So there's a lot of complex topics. If you're allergic to mold, that reduces your vitamin D. If your gut health is bad, that reduces your vitamin D. If you improve your gut health and get that good bacteria, that actually improves the ability of vitamin D to be active and to actually shut down inflammation.
Wow.
So it can be super complicated. So again, this is where like judging people prematurely is probably not the way to go. At
Yeah.
the same time, I would say, getting back to our original thing, you can't make anybody's decision for them,
Right.
right?
Right.
You can encourage, you can show them who you really think they are, but at its core, each of us has to make a decision to become healthier. And then a lot of times, it becomes a hobby, it becomes a passion, it becomes something interesting. Yes, our product, it actually does have curcumin, turmeric, very anti-inflammatory. Things like ginger, also really good.
Mhm.
My children are Ethiopian, and I made dorawat, which is like chicken stewed in, like, I think you use like 8 pounds of onions and you cook them down, and then
Yeah.
you put like a ton of ginger and a ton of garlic and a ton of spice. I was like, it's like half a cup of ginger garlic paste, and
Wow.
um, all of these actually activate a gene in your body that's called NRF2, and that gene is an antioxidant detox gene, and that's what the supplement that I saw actually activates.
Yeah.
But all of these things like ginger and turmeric, and so Ethiopian food is really high in those spices, and so
Yep.
you'll notice, and they also have a lot of minerals in them. So, on a typical American diet, you're not getting these activators of the system that God put in you to
Hmm.
detox you, to reduce inflammation. And so when you eat more naturally and you eat some of these spices, and you don't always have to take them as a supplement, you can eat them, will help to reduce inflammation. I always have ginger, I always have turmeric. I always have these things on hand and I use them. So I really love that kind of like the Ethiopian cooking where you've got all of those spices in there. I think that those really help the body to activate the system. There is a system that God put in us to reduce inflammation, to detox, and to mop up damage. And we just,
One of the things I keep hear you mention in your response is that I catch it. You said God has created our bodies to do this. God has done this to our bodies to where we can is able to respond to this. So the body is so complex, but God is so wise in how He made our bodies that it can heal itself if we take care of it. Is that a safe
yes, and
thing?
one of the things that is really a passion of mine is showing people that there are really simple things. The science behind them is super complicated, but really super things, like, because God didn't be like, well, only if you're a molecular biologist are you going to be able to be healthy. So things like going out and getting some morning sun can be really
Mhm.
healthy. Walking on the beach can be really healthy. There's a lot of super complex science about why this is. Magnesium sulfate, Epsom salt baths, really healthy. Bone broth, soup, really, really healthy. All of these things that are super simple actually can contribute really greatly toward bringing your body
Wow.
back into balance. And we don't realize this. And
No.
so when your grandma said, eat your vegetables, go out in the sun, and don't come back until evening or whatever, get some exercise. Many of these things that ancestrally that we've done are really healthy, and many of the things that are sort of common sense are really healthy. And we allow ourselves to get sucked into staying inside in front of the computer, typing all day, and not doing these really simple things like walking on the beach that
Yeah.
actually is really healthy.
What about music? How does music help? And just a thought. I mean, how does music help the body or the mind? You know,
Right. Well, I bet I'm not a music person, but I sure know that it helps me and it changes my mood and elevates. So, like when I don't, want to get specifically religious here, but when you meditate or when you hear music that uplifts your mood,
yeah,
anything, or even when you're feeling gratitude. So many of us have gratitude journals. So if
yeah,
you get up in the morning, you write 5 things you're grateful for, your grandchildren, your home, whatever it is. When you feel that gratitude, your body's actually making endocannabinoids. What are endocannabinoids, you
thank
say?
you. I was about to ask you that, Doc. You hit me all these doggone words now. See, you
Um,
come on.
so they're the same chemicals that are like in marijuana, okay?
Okay.
But our body has endogenous ones. That means we make them. It's in
Mm,
breast milk. So when that baby is nursing, it's getting these endocannabinoids from its mom that
man.
are those feelings that help generate well-being. So that's why people are reaching outside of themselves to self-medicate
Mm,
instead of doing the things that actually produce it naturally. And so, like some people say, like when you're running, like some runners, like when they reach a certain level, like their body does produce that, and they run for that runner's high, or what they call it.
yeah, yeah,
And so, there's things that we can do, and anything that makes you feel good is a sign that you're starting to make it. But we are really, really depleted um, of those endogenous endocannabinoids that actually can be again and that's where spirituality people are healthier. When you're praying, when you're feeling gratitude, when you're meditating, you can produce all of those endogenously. And so you want to do those activities because those actually bring the body back into balance. It's a really, really, really super complex system that I'm
yeah.
actually going to have someone talk about tonight in my um, alliance of practitioners that I have. Super complex, but guess what? Feeling gratitude isn't really complex. We all know
That's
how to
right.
do that.
That's right. And let me just give a verse for those who may want a BCV book chapter verse. We all know it's in Philippians, and then I got a couple other questions in the chat for some people wanted to ask you. Philippians chapter 4. Finally, brethren, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is of good report, if there's any excellence and if anything worthy of praise, let your mind dwell on these things. So it's how we think. It's what we meditate on, what we preoccupy our thoughts on. So I mean, you're nailing it, Dr. Parks. You really are nailing it. And we're gonna wrap this up. We're gonna wrap this up because I gotta get you out of this storm.
No diet drinks. No diet drinks. They're so toxic. I even in my quest for health, I don't drink diet drinks, and I put sugar in my tea. And sometimes I have to stop drinking the tea with sugar if my weight starts to go up a little bit. But yeah, diet drinks are evil. You don't
Hmm.
want that.
Now, Nate said, now women that got the shot can't produce breast milk. I don't know how much we
Yeah,
can talk about that, but I
yeah,
want
there's a lot of one of those reasons. There may be many, but is inflammation. So anything that's contributing to inflammation. One of the things that you can do if that interests you is like fasting is
you.
extremely good for sort of reducing inflammation and allowing the body to detox what might be in it and sort of cleanse itself. And again, I would say that some of the oils that we have, we really need certain different, we need more natural fats
Hmm.
um, to help our bodies heal. So when our bodies are trying to heal, if we're not giving it the kind of natural fats from things like butter, butter is so, so good for you. It does not make you fat. Butter does not make you fat. So, so good for you. All right.
Hmm.
Things like butyric acid, apple cider vinegar can be good. It helps with the signaling of the gut. So restoring that signaling of the gut and giving the body the good fats that it needs to heal. And again, this is something that I talk about. And again, the collagen that's in bone broth and things. Remember, gravy and soup
Yes.
used to set. It
Yep.
needs to set. It needs to have that nasty gelatinous stuff. That's really, really healing for the body.
Wow. Now, you mentioned apple cider vinegar. So I have sometimes, well, my throat it gets phlegm, right? So when I try to sing or something like that, I can tell there's obstruction there. Apple cider vinegar, is that good to take in order to clear it out, or what other remedies could I use for that?
Sure. Well, I mean, I know a lot of people use lemon and apple cider vinegar to clear that out. That's a sign you have inflammation, so it's maybe a bigger systemic problem as well. Obviously, I wouldn't drink dairy, especially normal non-whole milk or whatever, because that can produce mucus and things like that. So, about apple cider vinegar, I usually get the raw, like I know Costco sells it and some stores sell it, but the raw apple cider vinegar that has the bacteria is still in it, and it's producing. There are three different really important signaling molecules in your gut: butyric acid, which we get from butter, but bacteria also make when they're digesting soluble starch; propionic acid and acetate, which is in apple cider vinegar. So all of those are really important for your gut signaling, and they tell your gut what to do. And it's really complicated, and we've got like 5 minutes. So but I would say that those can help. And some people drink alkaline water, can help your body to reset. And again, the mechanisms of these are actually quite complex. But yeah, water is really good. So yeah, we want to reduce mucus, and a lot of people find by reducing. Some people find by reducing milk and gluten that can reduce their mucus production. But
Yeah.
a lot of times, also, when you get your body back into balance, you're not as sensitive to some of these things like the gluten or the milk or whatever it is.
Gotcha. Let me see. Now, this is a struggle. So glad you mentioned not drinking cow's milk. It causes lots of issues. I didn't give it to my kids. They both are almond milk. Their pediatrician looked at me like I was crazy. I see. Okay. I'm going to confess something to y'all. I tried. I tried. I tried. I tried. I tried doing the organic. I apple milk. I mean, almond milk. I can't.
So,
Can't
so
eat Oreos with almond milk, Dr. Parks.
I actually have a goat share where I get milk, basically organic milk that is not homogenized and not pasteurized from a goat. Goat's milk is a lot easier to digest. It has the goat's milk I have, it tastes just like cow's milk to me. And because it's not pasteurized, it has all the good bacteria. So this idea that non-pasteurized milk is going to kill you, when you kill all the good bacteria, which is more likely, the one that has all the good bacteria, or the one that had all the good bacteria killed, to actually go bad? The one that's had all the good bacteria killed is more likely to go bad, right? So, I mean, they used to just set milk on the counter and it became sour cream, and it became, because it naturally ferments, because it has all yogurt and things like that. There's all those good bacteria in it. So, I mean, there's an option if you find someone locally that you can have either a cow share or goat's milk, which is easier to digest, and goat's cheese. Yeah. So I spent years in Wisconsin. So like giving up dairy, I do yeah, green tea. There you go, with a drop of oregano. Just don't put too much. That the different chemicals in the oregano oil like are really really strong. Those thymals and things like that.
Gotcha.
So I can't speak to. I know I would be careful with any high protein milks because that might have more of the things that people are allergic to. But I know goat's milk tends to be really a good choice. There also is something called A2 milk. Some people are allergic to a specific protein, and the A2 milk, it's just it's a cow that has different genetics that produces just a slightly different proteins in the milk that some people aren't as sensitive to. So you can try that. The Bible says milk is the land of milk and honey. So milk isn't inherently bad. It can't be, or the Bible wouldn't call it the land of milk and honey.
Right.
Or the
It's
bread
the
of
kind
life.
of milk that we're talking about, I guess, right?
Right. It's the way that we've learned to produce it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and people become sensitive to it.
Yeah. All right. So Dr. Parks, final thoughts. How can people contact you? Let's put this information here for those who would like to reach out to you with any questions, and then also, don't you have some resources on your website, or aren't you like
I'm going to. I was just thinking about that today.
Okay.
I've got two things going on. I've got a practitioner alliance that is about treating root causes of illness, that I'm getting a website for that up, and so that's taking a lot of my time and energy right now. And that is really going to have a lot of information, and practitioners speaking every week on, or at least every other week, on different healing protocols, different ways to reestablish balance in your body. And so when that comes out, maybe we'll have to, I'll have to hit you up, and
Absolutely.
we'll see what we can do. But also I have a website, but there's nothing on it. I just haven't had time. I've had so many things going on. But very soon, if you go to Rumble and search for me, there's quite a few different talks that I've given. And if you go to my Telegram page, I post
Yes.
a lot of science there, and I post a lot of my presentations there. And I have on Telegram, they have a section that's pinned. So if you go to that pin section, that's where you can find a lot of the podcasts and the different presentations that I've given are on there. And so my Telegram page is the place to find most of my stuff until I get my website up.
And your Telegram page is?
It's Dr. Christina Parks. So I don't know. I can try to give a link. Let me see if I can copy my link here. Okay, and let me. I'll put that in the chat.
Sure.
Oh, here I am. Okay.
And all of you, those of you who are in the chat, those of you who are still watching this,
I put it in the private chat. I don't know how
okay,
to do it.
I'll post it. Yeah, I'll grab it right there. I got it right here. And those of you who are in the chat and are watching this, please make sure that you support Dr. Christina Parks and what she is doing. We know that the enemy is doing everything he can to shut voices like Dr. Christina Parks down. Right. One last question: How is Dr. Simone Gold doing? Do you know?
I haven't spoken with her, but well, she actually sent me an email because I do work with the frontline doctors, and she was excited about some of the different things we had moving forward. I didn't want to overwhelm her. I sent her a nice note. As far as I know, she's doing well and is in good spirits and is ready to move forward. I'm sure she has a ton of stuff going on with the situation of just getting out of prison. I can't even. Exactly. Crazy world. I do want to say on my Telegram page, so I did post this live on my Telegram page. So if you want to go to the comments on that, if you are interested in joining a Zoom call to talk about some of these issues of how to reduce inflammation, how to heal your gut, where I can outline specific products, which I don't want to do here because that wasn't really the purpose of this discussion. But if you want to go to that and comment, either you got this from there, or if you are seeing it somewhere else, go to my Telegram page, go to that post and comment. I will look in that post. If I get a significant number of comments, we'll try to schedule some sort of Zoom where we can discuss that.
And Dr. Parks, lastly, how can we pray for you and your family?
Oh my goodness. Wow. Just that God would use me according to his will. I pray that he would bring the right people to support me in all that I'm trying to do in terms of getting this treatment alliance is looking at root causes of chronic illness. The people just to support me. There's a lot to do, and I just need all the pieces and parts to fall into place. I'm juggling a lot of different things. That he would just help to bring me the time and the focus to get that stuff up and running, but the right people to support those endeavors.
Amen. Let's do that now. Father, we come before you. We just thank you for this time. And thank you, Father, for my sister, Dr. Christina Parks. We pray, Lord, that you would bless her household, her husband, her children. Lord, you will protect them, provide for them. We know that we're living in the last days where the enemy of our souls would love nothing more than to cease and to silence your people. Continue to raise up an army of brothers and sisters of like-mindedness. Give her good connections and networking with other people of like mind. We know, Lord, that you own all of what we have. And Father, we just ask and pray that your hand of blessing be upon those who seek to do your will. Continue to use her and those like her. We ask that you will bless America's frontline doctors, those who are standing and are speaking in these last and evil days and are informing your people, those who are believers and even our neighbors, because you told us to love you and to love our neighbor as ourselves. So Father, one of the loving things we can do is give people the truth. And so, Father, may your truth be proclaimed, and may those who are representing your truth be strengthened and justified by what you have called them to do. We ask these things to be done in Jesus' mighty name. Amen.
Thank you.
Dr. Parks, thank you. The pleasure was all mine, ma'am. I definitely will be keeping in contact with you in the future. Take care of yourself. Get out of that storm, my sister.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
God bless you. Take care now. All right, y'all. Great interview. one of my best interviews. I just love, having people like Dr. Parks come on. Please go to her Telegram page to support her, get that information. More information could be put out, but we can't put it in this platform because we know big tech is just, looking for reasons and ways for us to be shut down. So we got to be wise as serpents and innocent as doves. Amen. So that's my time, you all. Thank you all so much for yours. Again, this was a special broadcast. Was able to have Dr. Christina Parks on. And so I'm glad that she was able to come on with us and to share her insights and her knowledge with us in this issue, in this topic. So anyway, you guys have a great day. I may do another live. Not really sure. Depends on how the rest of my day goes. But I'm out of here. You guys have a great day. Y'all know the drill. Whatever you do,
go out here. It's over. Go home. Go.